This is hype. And no, that's not an over-exaggeration for once. This winter summit's been absolutely crazy, as you can probably see from the picture on screen. If all this gets completed on time, next year's shaping up to be the biggest year in the history of old school RuneScape. And no, that's not an over-exaggeration. In this video, we're going to be covering them off as a quick recap, and then I'm going to have a few more videos specifically on a few of these, where we're going to be going into detail about what they are, how Jagex could potentially use them, and how good they're possibly going to be for the game. But this video is just going to be a recap for people who couldn't make it to the stream or were watching football. These will all be timestamped for your pleasure, so feel free to skip to wherever you're most interested. Let's get into it. First, we'll be taking a look at Jagex's new official account builds. Official account builds are a way for Jagex to cater to the more niche communities we have on this game. To start with, they'll be catering primarily to skillers and 10 HP pures. This functionality and system allows players to lock their accounts out of gaining experience in the selected skills, but will also allow their accounts to bypass things such as quest requirements, with the best example being skillers being able to complete Priest in Peril, and in doing so being granted access to Mauritania, which is something that's not been possible. Now, this is not stated, but it can be presumed that this also means if you create a 10 HP pure, you can now train combat normally without any risk to gaining any hit points experience. This means you could get 99 attack, strength, etc. using normal weapons, hitting monsters, and gain EHP combat experience without getting any hit point levels. Although that's just an assumption, but it's one based on the statements provided, so I assume that's the case. The biggest parts of this update are that players with existing accounts can also opt into this. If you currently have a skiller or a 10 HP pure, as long as you meet the requirements for the mode, you can opt into the system. If you have an existing 10 HP pure, you can now lock its HP and go wild. Now, you can also opt out of the system, but if you opt out, all of your XP that would have been gained in the locked skills will be given to you all at once. It is stored in like a shadow realm. So whenever you de-iron essentially from this mode, then you'll get all of that experience, so you won't be able to opt back in. The system also comes with new chat icons, outfits like the Iron Man armor, and a brand new high scores. These niche communities are in for a great time, and who knows, they might entice some new people to join these communities. I'd be interested. Anyways, next up, Bounty Hunter. Yep, that's right, Bounty Hunter is making a comeback once again. Now, I know what you're all thinking, Jagex have already screwed up Bounty Hunter multiple times over the years, what makes this one so different? And believe me when I say that I thought that at first, but the amount of thought and preparation that's gone into this does look very promising. Instead of being in the wilderness directly, we're going back to the best Bounty Hunter, the OG Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter in craters. Now, there are no specific details on this, such as their location, breakdowns of how it exactly work, combat brackets, so we can't get into too much detail on that yet. However, they did speak about the rewards. Now, the reward system's been designed to cater to PvPers and not to gold farmers. Most, if not all of the rewards will be untradeable, meaning that gold farmers can't profit off of them. And a lot of the untradeable rewards will only be usable within the Bounty Hunter creators themselves. And these rewards are no joke. They're bringing back the corrupt forms of the Ancient Warriors equipment, and with only a 20 defense requirement to boot, meaning we could see the birth of the 20 defense build on old school RuneScape. Now, these will most likely take place back on their original homeworlds of 318 and 319 to encourage everyone to be on the same world to fight and not be split up over multiple worlds. Honestly, if the rewards are carefully thought about, which they seem to be, this could shape up to be one of the most enjoyable and successful PvP updates in history. And the weapons can't be used anywhere else in the wilderness, just Bounty Hunter. So, PKers and PVMers alike, stay hopeful. Next, let's talk about the potential of a new skill. Now, this one's a little strange as there's no context outright, however, this is absolutely massive. Jagex are polling whether we should have a new skill in old school RuneScape. Not a specific skill, in fact, not with any skill in mind at all, just do we want a new skill? And that poll's actually live right now, so make sure to go in game and voice your opinions on this. Now, while there are no proposed skills directly, and they are looking to work closely with the community to develop some ideas, they did lay down the foundation of exactly how this would work. They have a very clear 6-stage process that actually starts with stage 1 being polling whether we actually want a new skill or not. Each stage involves the community, meaning we get a say in almost every step of the way. They also showed the 4 design pillars of what makes a new skill a good skill. These are 1, the skill is a healthy addition that is deeply rooted in the game. 2, the skill provides meaningful progression. 3, the skill appeals to a variety of player types. And 4, the skill is enjoyable to train. Honestly, I couldn't have asked for anything better myself, and as a community, we couldn't either. Old School RuneScape deserves a new skill, and maybe as a community, we can fight for something that meets these design philosophies and bring something amazing to the game. And speaking of skills, although not new ones, woodcutting is getting a huge overhaul. This overhaul is called Forestry. As you can see by the cinematic playing, this looks incredible. Forestry aims to make woodcutting more of a social experience. The entire core of woodcutting is being shaken with the system being modified so trees don't deplete faster with more people, and actually are potentially more beneficial with the more players that you've got. These events include forestry events, expanding the skills economy with new currencies and rewards, and being available all over the game rather than an isolated skilling minigame. Rewards and experience scale with levels, so forestry can be done with players of all skill levels. The rewards include a new resource, leaves, which can be used to build special campfires, or mixed with herblore to make brews, giving benefits to various activities in-game. Mod Ash can finally get his beloved Earl Grey in-game. What a time to be alive, he must be so happy. There's also a mention of including most other skills into forestry in some way, so I'm looking forward to see how that plays out. Honestly, I'm really excited for this update. Shaking up the entire core fundamentals of woodcutting is amazing, and it's even more hype that it's not just a woodcutting minigame. And finally, we get the biggest updates announced this summit, the additional quests coming to the Majorat questline. Firstly, we've got Secrets of the North, a new master level quest coming January the 11th, so very soon. This has been teased in blog posts as the mystery quest, and we've finally got answers, and I couldn't be happier. This questline is one of the most incredible in the entire RuneScape universe. There isn't much revealed about the quest yet, thankfully, but we do know that the quest boss is going to be a repeatable encounter after the quest, much like Vorkath, where a stronger, repeatable version of the boss will replace it, and this boss will drop the rewards from the recent poll. But that's not the best part. This quest leads into another coming next year, Desert Treasure 2, The Fallen Empire, a Grandmaster quest. Yep, finally we get the sequel to one of the most famous quests in old school RuneScape. But this time we don't get a new magic book, no. We get a new prayer book, the first of its kind in this game. Now I know what you might be thinking, don't get too excited, curses ruined RuneScape, and before, and they can do it again. But these are not curses, in fact it was explicitly stated curses will never come to old school RuneScape. There might be some overlap in some of the prayers, but they'll mostly be original and heavily utility focused. This means we'll be likely getting prayers that even buff skilling activities. I can't wait to see what they've got in store. That's not all though. The quest, much like the original, features 4 bosses that you must kill, and each of these is in a brand new area. So at the very least we're getting 4 new areas added to the game, and with the art team lately, they're gonna look so good. But that's not even the best part. These bosses in each of these areas are all repeatable after the quest, which means next year we're getting 5 new bosses, 5 that aren't locked behind Slayer and are repeatable and grindable. The bosses are called the Whisperer, Duke Susselis, Vardorvis, and the Leviathan. The Leviathan sounds amazing. These bosses will be dropping some uniques that will be pulled at a later date, but will also more than likely be dropping the much anticipated Virtus robes. What gets me the most excited is Jagex having stated that these bosses will be harder than Galvek and the Fragment of Seren and be repeatable, meaning we'll have some amazing content coming. To put it into perspective, the last time we got this many bosses at once, or close to, was the release of God War's Dungeon, and God War's Dungeon was hype, so this will be incredible. Anyways, that's it for this recap. As a community, we have so much to look forward to, and yes, sometimes the game goes down, but Jagex are incredible, and this next year looks like it genuinely has the potential to be the best in the history of old school RuneScape. I personally can't wait. Thanks for watching everyone. If you'd like to chat and discuss these updates, please join my Discord server linked in the comments and description. And if you'd like to see my in-depth breakdowns into each of these, feel free to subscribe. Love you and leave you, and I'll see you next time. Bye!